Hey, Goddess Globetrotters, it's Tosh here, founder and CEO of Travel Goddess International. We are back with another episode of Travel Chats. And today's segment is all about finding success through travel blogging. I'm thrilled to sit down today with the owner and creator of Passports Grub, Miss Tomiko Harvey.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. This is like so exciting talking about my passion, which is travel, how to balance travel in life and how to make an income from traveling. So I'm super excited about being here today.
And we are more than excited to have you. With that being said, I'm going to jump right into it because I'm excited to gain the knowledge that you're fitting to share today. So my first question to you is, why Passports Grub? You know, for those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, maybe take a moment and tell them how you got to where you are.
So I traveled quite often with my husband prior to me even creating Passports Grub. And everybody was saying, you should start a travel blog. And at that time, I didn't even know what a travel blog was. And my day job, I am in sales and marketing with a CPG, which is a consumer product goods. And when I started the blog, I immediately, thought of this could be a way to make income off of. Could be a stream of income for when I retire. So let's make sure that I started out in a way that it looks like a business entity and not just I'm throwing something up against a wall in hopes that it will work. So I took my knowledge from my day job and applied it with the blog and immediately tried to figure out how can I do this strategically and what is my 5 to 10 year plan with the blog so that when I retire, this will be a source of income once we retire. And so Passports Grub, I wanted it to be about traveling, but the name Grub did not seem so elitist to me. While I do luxury travel, I still wanted the name to feel attainable and not feel as though it was so like it's, I didn't want it to give the elitism with the name. So I wanted it to feel comfortable for people that don't think that they can travel or they don't think they have the means or the finances to travel. I still wanted everybody to be inspired by my travels. Mm-hmm. And so therefore Passports Grub was born. Yes.
Well, I think you nailed it because like you said, the name that you chose was very much comfortable, inviting, and simple, if you will.
Yes.
But then dive into the information that you have on your website, the way that you've curated your social media platforms, you can tell that it's an experience. And that's
right.
Yes. So I definitely think you nailed it there. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I people, sometimes, we are in this sort of, if you're not staying at the most, and I do luxury travel as well, but I don't want people to feel like if I'm not staying at a 5-star resort, that means I need to stay at home. So I talk about travel with my kid. I talk about, with my husband, even solo travel, which I am in dire need to be somewhere for 2 weeks by myself, away from my family at this point. I know, look, this quarantine is causing me to struggle. I'm like, it's only so much I want to see of y'all Jones at this point.
Right. I can understand. I mean, I'm a bonus mom, but my boyfriend has 2 kids and we just returned from a 5-day vacation and we didn't even realize how much we needed it until we were there and we were like, whoa.
And I don't even want to go with my husband. I want to be on somewhere solo by myself, enjoying my own personal company. And actually, right before our call started, I was actually about to book me a solo. I said, you know what? I'm going to Mexico for 5 days by myself. And sometimes you just need to I text my husband and I was like, I'm about to book me a trip. I'll let you know where I'm going once I decide.
I love it. sometimes you just have to do it. Like just
Right.
do it. I'll
Right.
get the
Right.
details after the fact, but it's happening.
Right.
So that's a great segue into my next question, because I really want to understand when that light went off for you that you said, I'm going to travel blog. Obviously, you were traveling, you were looking into, or you were sharing their information already, and you thought, I wanted to monetize this platform. But in addition to the monetization, you definitely still are curating the content in a way that's well received. So how did you kind of come to being like, I'm going to travel blog, I'm going to do it this way, and then also, hey, it can make me money?
So something that we don't talk about, and when I say we, I mean within the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
with regard to monetization is SEO, which is search engine optimization.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, you have to understand what people are searching before you curate your content. So if you're just wanting to be a blogger because that's what you want to do as a hobby, that is completely different than if you want to have a business and you want to make money from it. And so if you want to have a business and you want to make money, the first thing you need to understand is SEO, which is search engine optimization, which means when you pick up your phone and you Google best places to stay in Mexico, how is it that a regular person, when you and I even pick up and we Google that, what does that look like when we are Googling those words?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are curating content and you don't understand how people search for terms and for words and for phrases, then you've lost the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Because Google is your, I hate to say this, but your friends and your family on Facebook, they are not your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times bloggers, we want our friends and family to be our audience, but that's not who your audience is.
Right.
You want those 70% of people that are picking up their phones and they're searching for destinations. That is who your audience is.
Right.
And you have to understand how they search on Google for content. And so that was my first thing. How is it that I am going to get those people that are not my friends and family to find me, find my blog? And with that, you have to understand how many people are searching terms, how many people are looking for that a particular year, a particular season. Are you creating your content by seasonality so that, you know, like right now, I'm creating content for the spring of 2021 because it takes 3 months for Google to rank you. So you have to be ahead of the game when it comes to creating content. And most bloggers, I find most Black bloggers don't understand that. They just create what they want to create when they want to create it. But you have to understand how the big machine of Google and Pinterest works if you want to monetize it, because people are already right now, they're searching the fall, what to do and where to go in the fall, where to go for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're taking day trips right now. So you should already have that content created and on your blog so that you can get that traffic.
Yeah. Wow, those were some excellent points, and I think that information is twofold, because yes, it's very much pertinent to blogging, but I think it's just pertinent to business in general, and just continuing to, like you said, think one step ahead, no matter what venture you're embarking on, and especially right now when we are so focused on supporting Black business, and we want to continue to cultivate our community with the dollars, in the sense as whether it be knowledge and or monetary. It's important to just understand, like you said, some of these big business concepts that will continue to allow us to grow. That's just amazing. I mean, personally, I think that that's important, because I'm Travel Goddess International is continuing to grow. And again, we're always trying to forward think. And like you said, people are now, especially with COVID, people are now really searching for 2021 in general.
Right.
Yeah, there's not much still on the books for 2020, and most people have just written it off and they're thinking future. So to your point about already focusing on spring 2021, like we got to stay
You got to stay ahead of the game. And even when it comes to pitching to brands, do you know that brands get their trade fund dollars, which is what they use to pay bloggers and content creators? They get their funds in October. So if you're waiting until the very last minute, if you're pitching to a brand in June of next year and they say, I don't have a budget, because people that knew that they had a budget the following year, brands get their budgets in October and November of the current year for the following year. Right. So you should be pitching to brands right now and figuring out, how can I pitch them a 12-month campaign? That should be on your schedule right now. How can I pitch a brand a 12-month recovery campaign, a post-COVID cover campaign? Because they're getting ready to gear up for 2021 right now. So you should be pitching to brands in October, because that's when they're going to get their money. If you wait to next year and they say, I don't have any money, it's literally because everybody else that knew that they got their money in October already had sent them the pitches and had scooped up their campaign money. Right. So we have to think like a business would think and understand those nuances of working with companies and pitching to brands, not about what you need. You can throw what you need in there and weave it in the pitch, but you need to figure out what the brand is going to be working on for 2021, and how can you show a brand that you're going to help them reach their bottom dollar in 2021. What does that look like for them? So you need to be pitching the brand a pain point and how you can solve that pain point to them. And not think about it as a lack mentality. I think a lot of times, we only want to work with, we think that, brands only going to want to work with one or two people, but they haven't heard you. And I think a lot of times we don't pitch to brands, we don't ask for those large campaigns because we think we're not big enough. We have imposter syndrome. We think somebody else they're already working with another blogger. So what does that look like for you? And so I think that we need to get out of that mindset that a brand can only work with one person. And if it's somebody else is already doing it, then that means that I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, that logic in itself at this point has been proven to be flawed, because we are in a completely different time where it's almost okay to have saturation. Do it in a different way. Do it, like you said, in your way, and allow the business and their budget to decide who they want to work with. COVID-19 has really changed the way that everything happens now. So instead of worrying about what we can't do, let's worry about how we can pivot.
Yes.
Focus, change, which is a perfect segue into my next question. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the elephant in the world, COVID-19. I mean, the pandemic has really put a pause on everyone's life. Even you mentioned earlier, like, I haven't really been traveling because I got homeschooled, I got this, I got that. It's a different world. So how do you think it will affect the future of travel, and even maybe the future of travel blogging? And maybe how have you been using this time to pivot for yourself and grow your business and your experiences?
It definitely is going to cause us to travel differently. And I think that, as a business owner, when things happen, you have to be able to pivot quickly. And I think for me, what I've decided to do within my own business, I have a lot of people come to me regarding the business part of blogging, and which I had never really because I like travel, that's where my passion is. And I've been saying for 2 years now that I was going to start teaching SEO, and I was going to start teaching pitching, helping bloggers pitch to brands. And I had been saying I was going to do that for 2 years, but it just wasn't a priority. And now that nobody is traveling, I've pivoted to pitching, to helping bloggers understand SEO, understand how to get traffic to their websites. And so I took this opportunity to do that. And so you have to think about what else that you're good at, what else can you focus on that's not travel related. And another thing that I did, which, so with Google, Google sort of tells you what they want, what it has sort of decided you are an authority in. You don't tell Google, Google tells you. So then I said, well, I want to talk about plastic surgery because I go and get me a nip and a tuck every 3 years because I'm old. So that's just what I do. I'm gonna keep it real. I turned 49 in August, and
49 where?
yes, I'll be 50 next year, so I go and get me some little lipo on my back every 3 years. I'm already thinking about next year where I'm gonna go.
Mama, you're looking great. Okay.
So I was like, Google sees me as an expert in Mexico. So how else can I get travel? How else can I get traffic to my website that has to do with plastic surgery in Mexico? Well, medical tourism. That's a huge thing. People go out of the country and they have, they get all of their plastic surgery done because it's half the price. So I started writing articles on medical tourism. You have to be able to think outside of the box and use what you already have to pivot and create content that nobody else is creating. And so this is a time where we have to really, really think hard about what it is that you can offer, what is a pain point that your audience is looking for, and how can you solve that pain point?
Yes. Well, I will say, I guess I don't want to call this a pain point, but I think it is, which was why I adapted the travel chats concept, which is just getting more information out. Like right now, people are seeking information, they're seeking guidance, they're wanting to understand if in fact it is okay to travel, if it is okay, where can I go that's going to still be, honoring the different practices that the CDC has advised and so forth. So the concept of travel chats for me was a pivot where I'm sitting down and having conversations with industry experts so that the information can be shared with my audience. So I definitely agree with just understanding what other opportunities you have, and then giving back in a way that's
right
going to both give to you and to others. So.
And Mexico is I think they're the only place that's allowing us to come in. So if y'all ready to go somewhere, seems like all the Black people in Tulum, and that's where I'm seem like we are all in Tulum. Every time I look up, I'm like, am I the only person that is not in Tulum right now? Literally, everybody is in Tulum, living their best life, drinking cocktails on the beach.
Right, at Pablo Escobar mansion.
Yes. Everybody, literally, every time I pull up Instagram, somebody is at his mansion on them steps or on that swing. Yes. I'm like, okay. Everybody. It's like the new Greece. At one point, everybody was taking them Greece pictures with the floating dress in the air, with the flying dress. Okay, that is now Pablo Escobar's mansion with those steps and that swing is the new Greece.
Yes. I'm glad it's not just me. I'm like, okay, it's everyone's timeline.
Everybody's timeline is, I was like, okay, everybody is living their life in Tulum right now. Yes.
I get there, right? Well, I will jump into our topic for today with that being said, which is 4 key tips for finding success as a travel blogger. And obviously, Tomiko has already given us so much, but we'll see what else she got in the tuck.
You know what? My first tip is, and I know this is going to sound cliche, but it's so not, with imposter syndrome being so rampant and looking at social media and you want to be like everybody else that you see, being your authentic self, because I heard today, I was listening to a meditation tape while I was walking this morning. And the young lady said, you can't work with the brands you want to work with because they don't see you, They see you trying to be somebody else.
Mm.
So you're allowing your imposter syndrome to prevent you, because they see that person that you're trying to be through everybody else, because everybody else trying to be the same person on social media. And I had to realize myself, I am almost a 50-year-old woman. My audience is not 20. And so I had to step back and say, you don't have the body of a 25-year-old. You don't look like a 25-year-old. You have to embrace yourself and your audience and appreciate the audience that you have, and quit trying to get the next 10. And how about give the people that are following you and give them your all, and your audience will grow. We are so busy trying to chase the next. We sort of, it's like a marriage. You know, the grass always looks greener on the other side, but if you just water what you have, then, you know, it will grow and it will flourish. We're so busy trying to chase the next 10,000 people, the next 10,000 people, so that we can grow our audience instead of focusing on the audience that we currently have. So that will be my tip number one, is to focus on your current audience and give them the reason that they are following you. And that's not hard to do, but, you know, we are such a, you know, we want to be the biggest. We want to have all of these things, but focus on your current audience.
All right.
And then my tip number two is, if you're not already doing it, learn you some SEO, search engine optimization. Learn you some SEO. I know we're all focused on Instagram because that's where the brands are, but it's our job to educate brands on longevity. And once that picture is gone from Instagram, then, and it's down through the Instagram feed and it's not, you know, trending anymore, it's our job as content creators to teach brands this is sustainability. SEO and Pinterest. This is how you keep people coming back to your destination year after year, because I'm going to be on the first page of Google. So if you're not already doing that, that's my second tip, is to figure out how that you can understand SEO and understand it in a way that it doesn't sound so, oh my God, I can never get it, because it does sound scary. Right. And trying to understand keywords and long-term keywords and H1s and N1s. But if you are a content creator, these are the things that you need to know. Tip number three, just moving right on along in there. We had 4 correct, I believe.
Yes.
So my tip number 3 is to niche down. And I see so many content creators where one day they're talking about natural hair, the next day they talking about nails, the next day they're talking about eyelashes, they're talking about travel. If a brand goes to your website or goes to your Instagram feed, do they even know who you are?
Right.
Know who you are. You got so much different stuff going on. You should be able to go to your website or to your Instagram feed. I should be able to tell what it is that you talk about, instead of trying to and just accepting a campaign. And really it comes from the campaigns because you want to get paid. So you accept all these different campaigns, but it doesn't, if you don't know who you are and who you are to your audience, how can a brand work with you and know who you are? Right. So that would be number 3, would be to niche down. And my last tip would be what I'm dealing with right now is let the hustle and grind mentality go. Find a balance, because if you are hustling and grinding 24/7 and you don't have a balance, things get out of whack. You end up like I was this morning, didn't know which conference call I was about to get started on. And so it's kind of, it's hard when the world is telling us that if you're not hustling, if you haven't taken this COVID opportunity and you haven't learned 18 different languages and you haven't picked this up, and if you haven't started a business, if you haven't did this, then you're not really living up to your potential. We can't do all of those things.
Yeah.
And so I think finding a balance between going after what you want and also realizing that you need rest as well.
I like it. I think your last tip is so key, especially right now, or not even right now, but during this year. You keep seeing and reading, and if you ain't making a business during this time, then you ain't. It's just like, who is the judge and the jury on this? Everybody's path is different, you know.
It's different.
And understanding your path, I think, is a greater feat than just doing to just say I did it. You know,
Right.
At that point in time, you're wasting your time because it's not your path. So
That right there is a word,
mhm.
because all those courses were coming out when COVID first hit, and everybody is like, you need to take this course, it's free. And I'm like, I literally, was like trying to do, even now, still trying to do too much. And it's okay. It's self-care, while that's a trending word as well, self-care, but we really do need to practice self-care and get out of this hustle and grind culture that somehow has sort of taken over everything that you do. And if you're not, creating a new business, if you're not creating a course, if you're not doing this, then you're not doing enough. And the one that I love the most is, sleep when you die. No, I need my rest today. You can sleep when you die. No, my sister, I need my sleep today. And so I was like, where, and I found myself really struggling with the inability to stay focused, the inability to stay on task, the inability to know what I'm doing from the next moment to the next moment, because I have 1,000 irons in the fire, because I'm trying to get so much done. And then you end up not really doing anything because you're not focused. That goes along with multitasking.
Yeah.
You got so much stuff doing that you never really completed the one thing that you needed to complete.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that word. I hope that our audience out there really absorbs that, because it crosses the sector of travel blogging, and it really does just apply to everything that you got going on. So thank you for that. It's always like, you never know when you need a word until you got it.
Yeah, it is. It is like, so I'm telling you, it is just so crazy how, and when I saw, and it like really bothered me, and I was saying this when we were off air, when Chadwick passed away, and the first meme or meme, however you pronounce it, that I saw was, if he could do all of this through cancer, what's your excuse? And I'm like, people, like, that was his path.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not mean that is going to be everybody else's path. Quit comparing everybody's journey.
Yeah, that's a truth. That's a truth. And he lived his truths, and everybody's entitled to live theirs, whatever that may be. So yes, thank you, and thank you to Chadwick for paving the way and showing us that if you have a path and you decide to follow it, greatness can be achieved. So that's
right. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch gears to my favorite question.
Okay.
Which is, what's the craziest travel story that you can share? Feel free to use discretion, but it has to be entertaining.
Okay. So this was just last year.
Okay.
And so there's a difference when you travel with your Black girlfriends versus your white girlfriends. Mm-hmm. It's just it's different.
It is.
So when you travel with your Black girlfriends, you're gonna be at the beach, you're gonna be sipping you some cocktails, you're gonna be looking cute, have your caftan on, and just kind of chilling and relaxing. When you hang out with your white girlfriends, not so much chilling. So this past year, I went to, it's called, I don't know, have you ever heard of, I had never even heard of it before. It's called the Burning Man.
No, the burning, like fire?
Like fire. It's called the Burning Man. But
I cannot envision it. So do tell.
So it is this like I don't know how many miles of it. It's like a desert, and they descend upon this little town right outside of. It's in Colorado, and they descend upon this little town, and they sort of have like these iron statues that they burn, and it's like free love with like drugs and all kind of stuff. So my white girlfriends, the event wasn't happening. They just wanted to go and see where the event was being held every year because they had never gone.
Okay.
So we drive there, and when we're pulling in, there's a big sign that said, "Do not enter unless you have 5 days worth of food and water." So I said, me, the Black chick, I said, "Hey, ladies, I don't think this is a good idea." And then they said, "No, we'll be fine." And I was like, "Are y'all sure?" "I don't think this is a good idea." "No, let's go." So we go in, and it's a desert. It's like literally maybe 30 miles of nothing but desert. They go in and they run wheelies around and all of that. So we go in, the sunset is gorgeous. We're taking pictures and drinking champagne, sitting on the car, telling stories. And then the sun starts to set. And I said, "Hey, ladies, I think we probably should get ready to head out." And we stay around for about 10 more minutes. And it goes from the sun setting to literally you can see your hand in front of your face.
Wow.
So we leave, we get in the car, and we pass our exit because you can't see.
Yeah.
And it's literally just a desert, and you can't really tell where the entrance and the exit sign is. We're driving, and then we hit which we didn't know at the time, that there's like water underneath some parts of it that is called like wet spots or something, where there's like water. So our tires get stuck in the sand, which is like quicksand at this point.
Whoa.
And I get out, and it's pitch black, and I have on my brand new Tory Burch Uggs, and my feet go all the way down, and this up to my mud up to my knees.
Oh my
We
God.
had to walk about 4 miles to a light that we saw a light in like the far distance. Had to climb through 3 barbed wire fences. There were animals howling. It was like so scary. And then, so this is where it gets interesting. Once we get to the man's house,
it's already interesting, but go ahead.
So after we climb through the 3 barbed wire fences, it's 20 degrees outside. We don't have on any coats. Yes. And then it's like animals howling. So we get to this man's house and tell him we got stuck at the sand thing. And he said, "Well, nobody can get you out till in the morning." Mm-hmm. So he take us to town, and there's a motel, and I use the word motel lightly. It wasn't even like a motel, and they were sold out. So we don't have anywhere to stay. So we're at the restaurant. There's only one restaurant in town and one motel because it's like a really small town. Yeah. And the lady said, "I have a cabin. It's unfurnished. It's unfinished. But you all can stay there. It doesn't have a bathroom. You'll have to go to the bathroom outside." So take us to her cabin, give us a roll of toilet paper, and we have to spend the night in this cabin in the woods. They go out to use the bathroom. There was a Taco Bell cup on the floor. My Black ass ain't going out to in the woods in the middle of nowhere, peeing in the woods. I was like, "Nope, y'all will have to get all of this right here today." And so I missed my flight going back home. I had to text my husband and say, "We're stuck in the desert. Here's my location in case something happens. This is where they can find my body in case we get killed." It was like the craziest thing ever. But that's my yes. Yeah. This was just this past year.
Yeah, that's out of a movie. That's like
that is it, and that's like the condensed version because we're on time constraints here. Yeah, it was.
I can only imagine. Oh my gosh, and not the Tory Burch.
And then I took them when I got back home. I wrapped them in plastic to put in the luggage. When I got home, I took them to a shoe shop here, and they worked on them forever. And No such luck.
They weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't the same. Yeah. It was, I was just like, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ. Then they tell me where we going this year? And COVID prevented me from having another near-death experience. We have any water, no food, climbing through barbed wire fence, staying at somebody's unfurnished, no, it was like crazy.
Oh no, but that's a great story.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
And this is why it's my favorite question. Like
there's always something. But you know, it's different when you travel with your white girlfriends versus black. It would never have happened if I was with, first of all, they wouldn't even want to go see what no Burning Man was. So that's right. It's like, what? Where's the cocktail? Where's the beach?
Right.
Yes.
I love it. And you set the story up perfectly. Like with that preface, like, here's the difference right here and right here. I love it.
Not gonna happen. I was just like, Lord have mercy. My husband was like, this is why. He was like, see, you ain't learned your lesson because you got caught up with them last year and doing something else. You got caught in a rainstorm in British Columbia with them last year. You still ain't learned your lesson because you went again.
I love it. Oh man, thank you so much for reliving it with us, because it was entertaining, that is for sure. And you're here to tell the story, which is what counts.
Yes, I did not die, but did I die? That's what she said. She
But
said,
did you die?
But did you die? I did not die.
Awesome. Well, before we get out of here, please share with our audience where they can keep up with you, with your projects, or what projects you have going on, and of course, with your travels.
So I am at Passports Grub. Find me there. Also, if you're not familiar with the Black Travel Alliance, we are a group of Black content creators that are holding travel brands accountable for not collaborating, working, and paying Black content creators. So go and follow Black Travel Alliance as well. We are doing great things to help with the travel industry. And I'm at Passports and Grub on Facebook, and my website is Passports and Grub as well. So feel free to shoot me an email, follow me on social media. I talk about not only, travel, but also SEO, the business aspect, and, being a parent and a mom, a wife. So just all of those things. I talk about a little bit of everything. So yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. The information that you shared today was not only what we needed, but how we needed to receive it. So thank you, Tomiko, for sharing your time and, of course, your information. And to our Goddess Globetrotters out there, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.